Before we begin, I just want to say this. If you enjoy real stories, deep breakdowns, and videos where we don't just chase gossip but actually understand what's happening behind the headlines, then please support the channel. Hit the like button, subscribe, and stay with me until the end, because this story is not just about one argument, one arrest, or one bad night. This is about family. This is about fame. This is about violence. And most importantly, this is about how one moment can change a person's whole life forever. Because on the outside, people see NBA YoungBoy's world and they see money, music, millions of fans, sold-out shows, and viral moments. But behind that fame, there is another side. A darker side. A side filled with courtrooms, jail calls, weapons, street loyalty, broken friendships, and people who were once close suddenly standing on opposite sides of a police report. And now, NBA YoungBoy's brother, Kendall Galden, is facing serious legal trouble after an alleged violent situation involving Baton Rouge rapper Lil Dump. What started as a normal night in Houston reportedly turned into chaos over something as small as car keys. Yes, car keys. Something that should have been simple. Something that should have never turned dangerous. But according to reports, that small disagreement exploded into threats, a pistol-whipping allegation, and a gun allegedly being pointed and triggered during a fight. And now Kendall is sitting in jail with a bond reportedly set at $500,000. So the question is simple. How did one regular night turn into a life-changing criminal case? And why does trouble keep surrounding the NBA YoungBoy family circle? Let's break it down. On April 17, 2026, in Houston, Texas, Kendall Galden, Lil Dump, and a woman identified in reports as Aaliyah Jones were together. From the outside, it looked like a normal night. People hanging out, drinking, talking. No major issue at first. But sometimes, the most dangerous situations don't begin with loud warning signs. Sometimes they begin with something small. A look, a word, a misunderstanding, or in this case, car keys. According to the police account, the argument began after Kendall allegedly took Jones's car keys without her permission. Now, to some people watching, that might sound minor. But when someone takes something that belongs to you, especially your car keys, it can feel like control is being taken away from you. And Jones reportedly called the police. That call changed everything. Because once police are involved, the situation is no longer just a disagreement between people in a room. It becomes official. It becomes documented. And according to the affidavit, that call allegedly upset Kendall badly. Reports say he pulled out a semi-automatic pistol and struck Jones in the face with it. That is where the night crossed a line. A disagreement became an alleged assault. A private argument became a criminal case. And then Lil Dump stepped in. According to the report, Kendall allegedly began arguing with Lil Dump and told him he needed to control his girlfriend. That statement alone shows how heated the situation had become. But then it allegedly went even further. Reports claim Kendall pulled out 2 pistols and threatened to shoot her. Not one weapon, 2. And according to police, when Lil Dump tried to defend his girlfriend, the situation turned physical. That is when the most chilling detail appears. The woman told police Kendall allegedly pulled the trigger during the struggle. But the gun did not fire. Why? Because the magazine had reportedly fallen out during the fight. Think about how close that is. One tiny mechanical detail. One magazine falling out. 1 second of chaos. That may be the only reason this story is about an arrest and not a funeral. That is the type of detail that makes prosecutors look at a case differently. Because once someone allegedly pulls a trigger, the conversation changes. It is no longer only about fighting. It is no longer only about threats. It becomes about intent. It becomes about what could have happened. And in the eyes of the law, what almost happened can still carry serious consequences. Kendall was later arrested and booked on aggravated assault charges. His bond was reportedly set at $500,000. That number says a lot. A bond like that tells you the court is not treating this like a small misunderstanding. They are treating it like a major violent case. And things get even more serious when you look at Kendall's past legal history. Reports say Kendall had already faced multiple legal issues in Texas since 2021, including charges involving evading arrest, unlawful carrying of weapons, and a burglary case. But the most disturbing part is the 2025 case. According to reports, that case involved accusations that he threatened a woman, broke into her home, and shot her dog. Now remember, these are allegations and legal cases still have to go through the court process. But when a person is already facing a serious case and then gets arrested again for another alleged violent incident, the court usually pays very close attention. Because judges look for patterns. Prosecutors look for patterns. And if they believe someone keeps getting connected to violence or weapons, it becomes much harder for that person to argue that this was just one bad night. That is why Kendall's situation is so dangerous for him legally. He was reportedly already out on bail for one case when this new case happened. That means he may not only be fighting the new charge, he may also have problems with his old bond. The judge could decide he violated the trust of the court. And if that happens, Kendall could be held while both cases move forward. That is when life starts closing in fast. One court date becomes two. One charge becomes several. One mistake becomes a future. And for Kendall Galden, this could become the case that changes everything. But this story is not only about Kendall. It is also about the world around NBA YoungBoy. Because every time something happens involving his family or his circle, fans start asking the same question. Why does violence keep following them? NBA YoungBoy, whose real name is Kentrell Galden, is one of the biggest artists of his generation. He came from Baton Rouge and built a massive fan base. His music is raw. His pain feels real. His fans connect with him because he sounds like someone who has lived every word he says. But that same life that made his music powerful also came with darkness. YoungBoy's career has always been surrounded by legal issues, street tension, and real violence. And over the years, some of that violence has reached his family, friends, and associates. His younger brother Jeffrey Tate, known as NBA YoungBoy, has also faced legal trouble. Other relatives and people connected to the NBA circle have been involved in arrests, shootings, and serious cases. And just days before Kendall's alleged incident, another person close to YoungBoy, NBA Ben 10, was reportedly shot in Houston. So in a short period of time, Houston became the center of multiple violent stories connected to the NBA YoungBoy world. That is why fans are shocked. Not because trouble is new, but because it keeps happening. Again and again. Different names, different cities, different courtrooms, same painful pattern. And that pattern is what makes this story bigger than one headline. Because when you zoom out, you see something heartbreaking. You see people who came from pain, finally getting close to success, but still being pulled back into the same dangerous situations they were supposed to escape. Think about it. NBA YoungBoy has achieved what millions of artists dream of. Huge streaming numbers, a loyal fan base, major tour, big money, a name known across the world. That level of success should change everything around you. It should create distance from danger. It should give your family better options. It should give your circle a chance to breathe. But sometimes money does not erase trauma. Sometimes fame does not remove old habits. Sometimes success brings people into bigger rooms, but the same anger, pride, fear, and street mentality come with them. And that may be the saddest part of this entire story. Because Kendall was close to greatness. He was not some random person with no connection to opportunity. He was the brother of one of the biggest rappers alive. He had access to a world most people will never touch. Tour, studios, money, fans, connections. But according to police, one night in Houston over car keys may now cost him years of his life. That is how fast everything can fall apart. One argument, one weapon, one trigger, one report, one arrest, one bond hearing, and suddenly your future is in the hands of a judge. Now, as of the reports in the transcript, NBA YoungBoy himself has not publicly spoken about Kendall's arrest. And honestly, that silence can be read in many ways. Some fans may say he should speak up. Some may say he should support his brother publicly. Others may say silence is the smartest move. Because when legal cases are active, anything said online can make things worse. A post can become evidence. A sentence can be twisted. A public reaction can create more attention. So sometimes silence is not cold. Sometimes silence is protection. But silence does not erase the reality. Kendall is still facing a serious case. Lil Dump and Jones are still connected to a traumatic night. And YoungBoy is still watching another family crisis play out in public. Imagine being in his position. You work for years to become successful. You fight your own legal battles. You try to move forward. And still, the people closest to you keep getting pulled into dangerous situations. That has to be exhausting. Because fame does not stop the phone from ringing when someone gets arrested. Money does not make court dates disappear. A sold-out show does not erase a police report. And millions of fans cannot save someone from the consequences of one bad decision. That is the part people forget. The internet treats these stories like entertainment. People comment. People laugh. People pick sides. People turn mugshots into memes. But behind every headline are real people. A woman who says she was hit. A rapper who may have nearly been shot. A young man sitting in jail. A family stressed. A career at risk. A future uncertain. This is not just drama. This is real life. And real life does not come with a reset button. Legally, Kendall could be facing major consequences. Aggravated assault in Texas can carry serious prison time, depending on the details and circumstances. And if prosecutors believe the alleged trigger pull shows intent to kill, there could always be the possibility of even more serious legal arguments. Nothing is final until the court process plays out. Kendall is still innocent until proven guilty. But the allegations are heavy. And when allegations involve guns, threats, prior cases, and someone already out on bond, the court usually does not take that lightly. This is why the next hearings matter so much. A bond hearing can decide whether Kendall fights this case from outside or from behind bars. It can decide how much pressure is put on him. It can decide how prosecutors move forward. And in cases like this, pressure can change everything. People make deals. Charges get adjusted. Witnesses testify. Evidence gets reviewed. And slowly, the full story becomes clearer. But right now, From what has been reported, the picture looks serious. A night out in Houston turned into an alleged violent confrontation. A friendship or connection between artists turned into a criminal case. And once again, the NBA YoungBoy name is tied to another painful headline. The biggest lesson here is simple. When weapons enter an argument, nobody wins. It does not matter who is famous. It does not matter who has money. It does not matter who has followers. The second a gun appears, the whole room changes. Pride can become prison. Anger can become a sentence. A small argument can become a lifetime regret. And that is exactly what this story shows. Because if the reports are accurate, this whole situation began with car keys. Car keys. Not a major beef. Not a planned attack. Not some big public battle. Just a disagreement that spiraled out of control. That is what makes it scary. Because it proves how quickly emotions can destroy lives when people do not walk away. And sometimes walking away is not weakness. Sometimes walking away is the only reason you stay free. Sometimes walking away is the only reason someone stays alive. For Kendall Galden, the road ahead is uncertain. He will have to face the court. His lawyers will have to respond to the allegations. Prosecutors will have to prove their case. And the people involved will have to live with what happened that night. For NBA YoungBoy, this is another reminder that success does not automatically heal the world around you. You can sell records. You can sell out shows. You can become one of the biggest artists alive. But if the people around you are still trapped in violence, the pain keeps following. And for fans watching, this should not just be another celebrity crime story. It should be a warning. A warning about anger. A warning about weapons. A warning about the company you keep. A warning about how fast one night can become the story people remember you for. Because right now, Kendall Galden's story does not have an ending. It has questions. Will he get bond? Will the charges change? Will Lil Dump speak more about what happened? Will NBA YoungBoy ever address it? Will this become another chapter in the long history of violence around the NBA circle? Or will this finally be the moment where people stop and realize the cycle has gone too far? Only time will tell. But one thing is already clear. This situation is serious. And if the allegations are true, it is heartbreaking. Because nobody should lose their future over pride. Nobody should be threatened over an argument. Nobody should have to wonder if a gun will fire during a fight. And nobody, famous or not, is above the consequences of violence. So as this case moves forward, we will keep watching. Not to celebrate anyone's downfall. Not to laugh at anyone's pain. But to understand the truth behind the headlines. Because behind every viral story is a lesson. And the lesson here is powerful. Control your anger before it controls your life. Choose peace before the court chooses your future. And never let one heated moment become the reason your whole story changes. If you made it to the end, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment your thoughts below. Do you think NBA YoungBoy should speak publicly about his brother's arrest? Or is silence the smartest move while the case is still active? Let me know what you think. And remember, this is not just entertainment. This is real life. And real life always comes with consequences.